Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Collapse Experiment. That thing that no longer feels like it's an experiment. Really looks like shit is happening now. That's a naughty word, don't say it. So yeah, what isn't happening? it's probably a shorter list to create right now. So what is not going on at the moment? Take a quick look at the numbers. Gold is over $2,000 an ounce. I could go into that. It sounds good, but considering that if you trade your gold in, you're just getting a devalued dollar. I mean, isn't that how it's always worked though? The value of the dollar goes down, value of gold goes up, allegedly. Doesn't mean that you're able to buy more with it. Oil hit $130 a barrel. Yeah, that's crazy. It's gone down since then. Last time I checked. Gasoline is $4.25 in my area, or at least it was last night when I was driving home. Had somebody tell me that they saw a news story that it's supposed to go up to $4.59 as of today. My wife was trying to find some optimistic articles about how, it's going to peak at $4.25 and hover around there, and it's going to slowly go down. And I'm like, whoever wrote that does not know what is going on. Food prices are already going higher. They're already up. They have been up. They've been going up. This is the inflation that people have been complaining about that Biden and everyone else has ignored. Now it's going higher due to everything. Gas prices, which means transportation costs is going up, which means that the plastic used to wrap all the food in is going to go up. Fertilizer, Russia is the number one supplier of fertilizer to the U.S. and the rest of the world. That's no longer a thing, so congratulations on that, Biden. You kind of need food for everything, everything. You need food for everything. You want to keep your economy going? You need food. You want to keep your people alive? You need food. You don't want civil unrest and a civil war? You need food. Apparently the people in charge don't get these memos. They don't read history books. They have no idea what is going on. Gotta go make sure she's not playing in the toilet. So while all this crazy stuff is going on, did I mention wheat prices are up 68%? Yeah, let's stick with the food for a little bit here, because that's gonna be a huge factor this year. Yeah, that's everything that's happening right now is going to hit American taxpayer wallets. It already is. That's the thing. If if Biden's approval level could get any lower, this summer will definitely kill it. Nobody will want him in charge. Nobody will want anybody that he has selected to be in his cabinet or part of his administration. Nobody will want them in charge. Everybody from the top down appears to be just a huge failure when it comes to doing their job. And at this point, I don't even care about midterms. I don't think there's anybody, for one, I don't think the damage is reversible at this point when it comes to, everything. I don't think that there's anybody who could be elected that might be able to reverse this stuff. There comes a point where the idiot working on your car has made irreversible damage to everything on your car. It's like hiring a bad mechanic. You keep paying the guy, because we pay these people. Let's keep that in mind. They say they're public servants, but at the end of the day, we pay them to do their job. And for some reason, they continue to get a paycheck when they're failing at their job. I don't know about you, but I'd be freaking fired and sent out the door if I was doing a bad job. So, getting back to Ukraine, which, depending on the day and depending on the story, feels like just a giant smokescreen to the bullshit that was happening in the last 2 years with COVID. Uh, Everybody's involved. A lot of people are saying it's already World War III. Um, I kind of knew it was World War III the moment Putin rolled in. Yeah. We have agreements with these countries, and then there's NATO, and depending on how NATO reacts, we're obliged to help them along. Yeah. People tend to be late to the game when it comes to like what's really happening, and I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, right? I mean, I can't be. I can't be the smartest guy on the planet. I know that there's people out there who are far brighter than me that should be up to date on this shit. And for example, Elon Musk, here's a guy who runs an electric car company. He does all these other cool things. Super intelligent, really focused and bright. Says that for the sake of national security and everyone involved, that the U.S. needs to up their oil production in order to, I don't know, stop funding Russia from invading other countries? I don't know how this is so fucking hard to understand. So, the most recent news when it comes to this dilemma is that Democrats and Republicans, for once in their freaking lives, decided that they came to an agreement on banning Russian oil. Cool. Wow. It only took you 11 days. 11 days to figure out maybe we shouldn't be funding Russia. Meanwhile, they did not put into this plan, which Biden could sign at any time, a way to counteract the possibility that we're going to be paying $6, $7, $10 a gallon by fucking summer because, I don't know, some dipshit, idiot, loser, fucking retard doesn't know how to open up pipelines that they shut down, grant leases to companies who want to do fracking and more drilling in the United States up to production. No, instead they keep tapping into a reserve, which, again, the reserve is a finite resource. There's only so many millions of barrels of oil that we have on reserve, and the whole purpose of the reserve is so that if, for whatever reason, production stopped, something happened where production everywhere just stopped. We have no more. We have about a 2-week supply. In order to keep things going the way that they're usually going, we have a 2-week supply. And it's just oil. It still has to go to the refinery to be turned into, diesel, gasoline, jet fuel. All the things that we would actually need. By the way, jet fuel is going up too. I just talked to a pilot last night about that. So apparently it's like some type of high-grade diesel that they use in jet engines, and yeah. How are you doing? So we have a coalition of foreign fighters who are going over to Ukraine to, represent their individuality. They're really pushing the fact that British people are going to fight for Ukraine and Latvians, and everybody's going to Ukraine. I don't know. It's like National Hunting Day for Russians or something, where it's like, ooh, they're handing out licenses. I get to shoot a Russian. Yeah. Hey, if they're being dicks, I have no problem with shooting Russians. But the idea that you can have your citizens going to a foreign country and fighting on behalf of that foreign country, and they're not representing your country, that's kind of a bad idea, and I don't think that the country who's having your people shooting at them is going to care as to what your actual on paper diplomacy is. They're gonna capture somebody and go, "Oh, hey, you're an American? Yeah, we're gonna have to talk with them about this. Maybe after we bomb the shit out of something." So, Canadian Prepper made a video about how the collapse is imminent and there's all these factors, and I was kind of baffled watching it because I was like, how do you not realize that we're in the collapse? Like, Western civilization as a whole is pretty much crumbling around us, and whatever preps you have, good for you. Whatever you're lacking, you should probably go get that now. And whatever you don't have that you're going to realize later that you're going to need, unfortunately, you're not going to know that until the time comes. But yeah, it's I think the time for preparing is pretty much over, and where you're at is where you're at. I don't really see the option of moving or doing anything like that to be very constructive at this point. If you are in an area and you still haven't figured out how to farm or use the land, it's going to be a very hard learning curve for you in the next year or two. And I think the two biggest threats that we're facing now, one is obviously the nuclear war that people are contemplating as to how that's going to go. And I keep seeing people trying to be optimistic about that, where they're like, well, it is survivable. If you have these factors in mind, okay, for one, it takes something like 20 minutes from the moment that the rocket is fired until detonation. 20 minutes. Most people live more than 20 minutes away from home. At least in the United States, all the Cold War era bomb shelters were turned into like rooms for filing cabinets and old furniture that nobody wants in their office anymore, that the county or whatever government is just refusing to sell or throw away because that's wasteful. Yeah, we are not prepared as a society, as hopefully as individuals, you're about as prepared as you can be. Europe is definitely getting their crap in order because they're thinking they might be the first target if Putin decides to do something. But then there's the cyber warfare, which, let's face it, that's already started, right? I mean, Taiwan, they're having brownouts and blackouts, and they're coming up with excuses, but we pretty much know that it's excuses. Different banks are getting hit. You can call it being banned or policy changes when it comes to these like banks and credit card companies, but like Visa shutting off the card usage for Russians. That's pretty much that's a hacking deal too, right? I mean, it's done by the company. It's not an outside force, but I mean, they're going into their system and they're changing things that goes against the contractual agreement between that individual and the company. I don't recall anything on any of the papers I signed that if the U.S. goes to war with somebody, that the bank is allowed to shut off my access to my money because of some policy change from a politician that I have no influence over. So, congratulations, Visa. I'm gonna say you're on the asshole list because I don't recall any citizens doing anything to you or anybody else. You know, it's funny they can't touch Putin, so they're gonna punish other people. Do you remember the days in school when somebody did something and the teacher didn't know who did it? And everybody was forced to sit in the room and be quiet, or they're going to have to go to detention. And, this was going to continue until so-and-so spoke up and admitted as to what they did. That's pretty much what's going on now. Do you remember how you were like, man, this teacher's an asshole? Like, this doesn't make any... Why am I being punished for something somebody else did? Why aren't they smart enough to figure out who did it? Everyone else in the room knows who did it. Why aren't they smart enough to do it? That's what's happening. You have an entire classroom, Putin sitting in the corner like, yeah, I did it. So what? What are you going to do about it? Nobody's going to talk. Because they know I'll fucking kill their families. Yeah. That's what's going on. So, not only does Putin have his people under the control of threat, but now the rest of the world is like punishing these people. So what's going to be their response? Like, they didn't do anything. And they're not going to do anything to Putin because Putin's more of a threat to them than having their fucking credit cards shut off. So, good job. Just, again, being a sad sack of assholes that, treating other people like shit who don't deserve it. Awesome. Because that's the only thing that you have in your bag of tricks, right? Is, when we were in Iraq the first time, we actually tested some bombs, the bunker busters, on bunkers when we were invading Iraq to see if they actually worked. And we killed how many hundreds of civilians just to see if these things, it was a test run. Yeah, why is it never the people who deserve to have bad things happening to? It's never those people that this stuff happens to. And then they get an easy way out. Even Gaddafi, like getting ass raped with a knife, even he got an easy way out. He didn't go to prison. Yeah, it was bad at the end. But look how short that was, right? I mean, we tortured people for weeks in Abu Ghraib and other places. So, one thing you're going to get from this channel is a lack of lawyer talk. When you're seeing on the news that, well, technically, no, I'm just going to say it how it is and what's happening. And to summarize everything, there's hacking going on both sides. It's World War III. We are in a international conflict over the invasion of Ukraine. The economies are quickly going to shit. We're going to end up with food lines and shortages. Gas is probably going to hit somewhere between $7 to $10 a gallon this summer unless people in our government get off their asses and slap the shit out of somebody who refuses to up production where we live. And good times. We're looking at some really good times. It's going to be fun. So I think I'm going to end it on that note. Look forward to the good times because they're on their way. It's oh my god. All the post-apocalyptic fantasies that you ever had are going to be coming true, and it's all the behind the scenes stuff that you're gonna really enjoy. The lack of clean underwear, clean clothes, why your socks smell like urine after wearing them for a week, having to wear paper bags over or plastic bags, if you can find them, over your feet to keep those dry, because the possibility of getting new shoes. Why am I concentrated on clothes? Because you're not driving anywhere. If the internet is still a thing. If not, you're gonna have like really fond memories of the good old days where food came in wrappers instead of fur or scales. Being able to rototill your garden with a gas powered thing instead of having to do everything by hand. Using weed killer instead of having to do that by hand. uh, Making your own bow and arrow set. Making your own pants out of deer hide if you're able to kid a deer. Yeah. Good times. It's all going to be good times. If you ever watch the show Alone and you're like, I want to do that. That looks like fun. The future is for you. So I'll close it there. Keep on typing.